Hi, welcome to this edition of the Breckenridge Town Council update for February 10th, 2015. I'm Kim Dykstra, the Director of Communications for the Town of Breckenridge. In a moment, I will interview our Town Manager, Tim Gagan, on the highlights of the February 10th Town Council meeting. If you're interested in a lot of things that are going on here at the Town of Breckenridge, Town Council meetings, Planning Commission meetings, a lot of different things that are going on here, please visit us on the web at townofbreckenridge.com. You can also engage with us at engagebreckenridge.com. We've got a couple of topics that go up there, and we'd love to hear your input on it. Or we've got a Facebook page, Town of Breckenridge, or Twitter at Town of Breck. So, plenty of ways to get information and engage with us. We hope that you'll take some time to connect with us on your mobile apps or on your desktops. Let's hear from Tim Gagan, our Town Manager, on the February 10th Town Council meeting. So Tim, the February 10th Town Council meeting, the Council had a long debate about the smoking ordinance, some changes to kind of update our smoking ordinance.
And we've been working on that now for about a month or so, where the Council wanted to update the original smoking ban that we put in place, and then the state followed right after that. And the discussion was about a lot about restaurants and the doors. Our current ordinance is actually less stringent than the environment, where you can smoke right outside of a door. And we had heard feedback and had some great feedback from both restaurants that said maybe that was time to kind of move that away from the door to get that out of the people's face. But the bigger debate was really about patios and where food service are, and also for the bars where a lot of people go outside and smoke right now. And originally the Council had had a draft of the ordinance that would have restricted smoking on those patios and required it to be a certain distance away, particularly to keep it away from food service. And then, as a part of the debate that went back and forth, and some bars that actually don't do food service, but they have a huge clientele that are smokers still, the Council decided to not go as far with the patios right off the bat. So for the ordinance that ended up getting approved will have some new restrictions about where smoking can occur, but the patios are going to be left out for the moment, see how they operate, and then revisit it potentially maybe 6 months or a year from now to see if it's time then to move towards moving smoking off of those patios. So it was an interesting change of several people's minds as the time went on, and it was kind of like, let's walk before we run type of discussion.
It also included the vape pens that are so popular now,
yes,
and excluding them.
Everybody agreed with that. Everybody agreed with keeping them away from bus stops, on the trails, on the ball fields, the park facilities, get them away from kids, that type of thing. All those things were all approved. This was really more a debate about food service patios and bar patios.
Correct, great. And then also we talked a little bit about currently our sign code, and we'd done some work with the task force, and they had recommended a few things, and the Planning Commission had come back and said, you know, doesn't really fit with where we had put those sign code restrictions in the first place. So the one step that the Council did do was say, you know, let's look at the enforcement of it.
Right.
It's not working right now, so let's look at the enforcement part of it and try to figure that out.
Exactly. The sign code is going to continue to be debated over the next 30 days or so to see if there's anything in the downtown core that needs to be changed. But as one of the things we found out over the last year or so, when we saw a lot of businesses unfortunately start to violate the code, whether it be sandwich boards or too many signs in windows, those type of things, our enforcement mechanism within the code is very cumbersome. And even worse, if you are a violator, the only way you can get it resolved is to go to court, which means walking away from your business, coming down to municipal court, which is not a great experience. So the Council looked at instead a much simplified process that would be much like a parking ticket. If you, after a couple warnings and appropriate education, if you continue to violate, you would get a ticket, and you can pay the ticket and not go to court. If you continue to violate, though, those fines that are related to that ticket would continue to go up, much like would happen with the old process. So the Council thought that would be a much fairer, quicker. We'll be able to see results quicker, so the businesses that are in compliance can look over and say, hey, that guy got a ticket, he shouldn't be doing that. So that was put on first reading, and the council will do a second reading in our second meeting here in February.
Great, great. I think a much simpler way.
Yep.
So, and the town, and another task force that I had mentioned this last year, the town formed a parking and transit task force made up of business owners representing all sorts of different businesses in our community to really take a look at our parking and transit issue. And they've had 4 meetings so far.
Yeah, and we've been talking about parking and transit, particularly parking, for a long time, and we continue to tinker with it. But this council is really committed to trying to find a long-term solution to the challenges we have. I mean, some of them are good challenges. We have sometimes too many people, too many cars, and where do you park them all? But this is really to talk about the guest, and this is the focus of this task force: is what's the right experience for our guests, and our guests many times are locals when they come down to eat and shop and do those type of things. So our chief, Shannon Haynes, has been heading up a task force that's been working through where do we have parking, what are the problems with the parking, where do employees park versus where should the guests be parking, and then how does transit work with that? Because if you have a good transit system and a good parking system, many people will hopefully choose transit as opposed to parking, particularly employees. And one of the problems we face for years is that a lot of employees take advantage of parking where key guest parking should be available. Main Street, some of our core parking lots. So the task force has been working through that. They're a great group. They've been talking about transit routes. They've been talking about where parking should occur. They've been talking about a new parking structure. Do we have enough parking? That type of thing. And so this was an interim report to get the council up to speed on all the things that the task force has been working on, and also to say, okay, what are they missing? What have they not talked about that you want to have information on? And this all leads up to a retreat in May, where the council will take all this information they've gathered from the task force and recommendations, and then hopefully come up with a recommendation for a long-term plan that will hopefully help our locals, help our guests, will take care of some of the congestion issues that we see around town. One of the biggest problems during busy days is that our guests will move from parking lots and try to find closer in parking in town.
To do business. To
do business, but then they're circulating all over, and it just causes a mess. And so hopefully it'll be a good balanced plan that will end up being, certainly put our guests first, but also try to take care of our employees to give them some options, and to look at what else we need to build. And a parking structure is not cheap, so it's also how do we make that all work, and how do we connect the transit to make sure that works as well as possible.
So this is the part of the show that we're going to dispel the rumors that are out there.
Okay.
So we're hearing the rumors that the Breckenridge Elementary parents will not be able to park at Breckenridge Elementary, and I'm not sure where that came from, but it seems to be surfacing.
Yep.
So what do you think, Tim?
The answer from the task force is no, they're not going to be displaced. Nothing's changing around Breck Elementary. There may be some things that will occur with who else can be eligible to park in some of those lots around Breck Elementary, but essentially parents will have the same options to drop off kids and to pick them up. But that's the kind of rumors that get started when our task forces are out there looking at all the different issues that are out there.
Yes, so there we go. And more to come after the spring retreat,
right,
about how this will do. And then the council did their annual meeting with one of their organizations that we do a lot of work with the Summit School District.
Right.
They have a Summit School District board, and we had a list of agenda items, and one of the top ones on there was really about workforce housing.
Sure was.
And there's a lot of their teachers and workforce that actually are living in the workforce housing, and how can we all work together?
Right.
Was one of the main topics that we talked about.
And every year we meet with them. It's one of those topics that the school district and the school board and the town council chat about. We're obviously very active in that area, and a lot of our housing, as you've indicated, has been bought up by teachers. But we believe there's still a huge issue. I mean, they're a major employer. A lot of these young teachers are looking for housing, rental or owner-occupied. And the council was saying, we're getting to a crisis point, so we really need to have everybody step to the plate and work with us and see where we can partner to alleviate their problem. Because if they can't keep teachers housed, they're going to have a real problem, just like any other employer would. And they agreed. The district board said, you're right. we've kind of pushed this off, and we've had a lot of other stuff on our platter, but you're right, we need to start focusing on this. So they've agreed that in the next coming months that we're going to meet together, really dig into it and see what we can do. And you know, a lot of it is about land. In the case of the school district, they may not have the funds to do some of the things that we're able to do, but if they have some land where we can work with them, Upper Blue Elementary is an example, the high school area, where maybe we can partner and help develop some housing and make sure it goes to some part of it goes to teachers. It could go a long way to eliminating their long-term problem, but also solving our problem of housing our locals here in the community.
Great, more on that. One of our counselors, Ben Brewer, has brought up the idea of perhaps a field house that would be a jointly run throughout their community, and maybe there's a community need out there for our youth to be able to have an inside field house like they have over in Edwards for their youth over there.
Yeah, and it's really about teams that need to practice, things like that. You know, there's always a challenge up here in the mountains where we have limited seasons where kids can go outside. We did the turf field a number of years ago. The school district was a partner with the private sector and the communities that did that. And this idea has kind of floated around off and on over the last 15 some odd years. Goes way back to the 4-H type of concept. And lately, there's been some energy behind it with some parents and our council member, Ben Brewer. And, but everybody agreed from the other communities and the county that the school district really is potentially a major component of that. Not necessarily funding component, but certainly what do you need? And are the kids really have a need for these type of facilities? And is it enough of a need to go out to the community and figure out how to fund it, how to build it, and then where to build it? And again, the school district may have a role in all of that. So the council raised that issue with the school board to get it on their radar screen and see what they do think. And they said, you know, they really hadn't thought about it. So it's one of those things that they said, let us think about that and learn a little bit more about it. And we'll get back with not only our community, but also the other communities in the county and see if the school district has an interest. Though we did make it very clear, it's better to hear either no way that we're not going to do this so we don't waste time. So it'll be kind of an answer of yes, we want to explore it further, or no, we really don't see a role for the school district.
Right. And then the other one was, another kind of topic was, they kind of brought us up to date as to, you know, kind of the progress of what's going on in the Breckenridge Elementary School, as well as the Upper Blue Elementary. A couple things with the middle school and high school.
Right. And
some awards that they've been winning and really have been moving the needle.
The achievement level of our school district that most people aren't aware of is really pretty amazing. And when you look at the demographics, which is another thing they shared with us, you know, what is the makeup of the students? You know, they have a lot of English as the second language, a lot of immigrants, and they have a number of people that are below the poverty level. So when you think about our community, that's a lot of those workers and service workers that are part of our community. And they have really, they are a leader, at least from the numbers we saw, of communities that have those challenges that are still achieving a high graduation rate, high academic rates, getting people into colleges, what they call the pre-collegiate program. And you know, it's really amazing to see how well they do given the challenges that are out there within our population. And our Upper Blue in particular, our principal, Carrie Bueller, was there and talking a little bit about that, which, by the way, she did reinforce the challenge of teachers trying to find housing. Exactly. And she wants to keep them. There are all these young teachers. But she said, you know, they are very proud of the progress they make, and Upper Blue is one of those communities that really demonstrates those demographics. And they're at the top of those lists, just like Breck Elementary, and how well they do. And so the school district does a great job in that regard. There's always challenges with everybody, so I think the council was very appreciative to hear a little bit more about what they do and how they do it. And you know, it's why we do these joint meetings with the groups.
Great. Okay, thanks, Tim.
Sure.
There were the highlights from the town manager, Tim Gagan, of the February 10th Breckenridge Town Council meeting. We have Town Council meetings on the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays of every month. The work session begins at 3 p.m. and the evening session begins at 7:30. We hope that you will come and join us in the Town Council meeting chambers here at Breckenridge Town Hall, or you can listen to our Town Council minutes online if you go to our website at townofbreckenridge.com and look for agendas. We hope that you will engage with us and learn about more what's going on here at Breckenridge Town Council, and we appreciate your interest.